Hello, everyone. Glad to have you all back here at XRaised, where knowledge meets inspiration in the intricate dance of industry evolution. My name is Miles, your host, and today we've got an award winning barrister who is no stranger to the spotlight. And I'm proud to have her regularly here on the show because aside from being recognized by various organizations as a thought leader, especially in legal tech, she also generously shares her valuable insights, her experiences, and deep expertise that truly shine and capture our audience. She's a prolific author, a guest lecturer, and the kind of visionary who looks at a week long legal research task and says, why not finish it in seconds? And then actually builds the AI to do it. She's been reshaping legal research through her company, MiAI Law, and at the same time, collecting recognitions that most of us would consider lifetime achievements. Here with us is the founder and CEO of MiAI Law, Laina Chan. Hi, Laina. Welcome
Hi,
back.
Miles. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for always being here. And we have a big one today, Lena. How personal recognition translates into responsibility and what it means for the future of MiAI Law. This one is going to be inspiring and very interesting, I'm sure. And when you receive awards and invitations, Lena, how do you process those moments of recognition? And do you see them more as milestones that validate your journey or as signposts guiding you toward what's next?
But it wasn't always like that, Miles. I don't think you should start with the recognition I'm getting now because I would say maybe not throughout my whole legal career, but definitely at one of the big firms that I worked at, I was the subject of
Wow.
terrible bullying and victimization. And what was really terrible, actually, it was when my daughter or my son. My son was only a few months old, and then as a result of all the bullying and victimization, I got like a whole bunch of white hair develop at the back of my head because I
Yeah.
went to the hairdresser. I mean, they can see it, right? They can see it coming, and then they told me there was a whole, a whole patch of white hair showed up at the back of my head because of the intense bullying that I was receiving from the partners and the staff part. It was a whole concerted effort to try and, I don't know, crush me, I suppose. And so it was it was a concerted effort. They hired this psychologist to interview people who worked with me because I said to them they were refusing to promote me to senior associate. And I said, I don't know what the problem is. Why don't you just speak to the people who actually work with me? So because once again, I had strong supporters. I always have strong supporters. And then at the same time, I have these people who want to crush me. So they hired this psychologist who came in and interviewed the partners, the lawyers, even the rego clerk, the lady who had to, Liz, who has to
Yeah.
go, you know, do all our filings, etc.
Uh-huh.
And this woman, I can't even remember her name, she was a psychologist. She put together this report. And then there was supposed to be this debriefing session, right? So I asked one of the partners, the supporter, to come to the meeting with me. And she said to me, I really don't understand why they're doing this to you. Nobody has to go through this process just to get promoted to senior associate, right? And in the meantime, four of my strong supporters, the three partners I work for in a special counsel, told me that they had said nothing but positive things about me in their interviews with this woman, which was all supposed to be confidential. And so I went along to this meeting with Diane, with Diane, who was the partner who came along with me. And
Mhm.
then this psychologist opens up and says, you did not receive 100% positive feedback from anybody. And I said to her, well, that's not true. That can't be right because four of the, three partners in special counsel that I worked for said that they had given me nothing but positive feedback. And then she said to me, well, that was supposed to be confidential. They weren't supposed to tell you what they had said. And so, well, basically, that was the end of the meeting because, it was corrupt. It was a corrupt meeting. And they had gone to all this trouble to try and change me because I had always refused to fit within the square box that they said I had to operate from. And and the staff partner at the time said, "Oh, it's not that we don't believe in you. We just want you to." I can't remember what he was saying. He just said that, we want to see you one day as a partner, but basically, they needed to re uh, reimagine me.
Yeah.
That's not the phrase he used, but they needed to do something, and they said, "Oh, you're too honest," or whatever. And anyway, so me being too honest and me refusing to always operate within the square had them feeling that they needed to reimagine me. This is a new phrase I came up with today. And so I remember one of the other partners, not the four that I work, oh, I guess she was one of the four that I work for, but maybe she's the fifth one. She came to me afterwards because after that I thought, well, there's no point in continuing to work at this place because they've just decided that they're going to crush me or they want to crush me. And in order for me to progress, I have to behave the way they expect me to behave. And so I decided I had to quit. And then obviously, one of my partners, my biggest supporter of all, he came to me and he said to me, "Well, I've told them that they have to give you a pay rise." And I thought, well, they're not going to give me a pay rise. I don't care about the money anyway. But they're not going to give me a pay rise when they've gone to all this effort to try and crush me. And another partner came to me and said to me, "Oh, you should just take your time. If you're going to leave, you should just take your time and just leave when it suits you, not when it suits whatever." And then I went to the bar, and
Uh-huh.
obviously the partner who was my strongest supporter sent me a lot of work, so that was great and everything. But then, and even at the various floors that I've been on, there've always been people who wanted to crush me and get rid of me or whatever, all through.
Yeah.
And it's just been a constant theme. And so then one of my friends who said to me, maybe last year, she said, "I really don't know what it is about you, but there's something about you that causes some people to feel the need to just crush you and destroy you. They really do." And so I don't know what it is. Maybe, I don't know. I threaten them. I don't really know what it is. I don't really know what the problem is. But yes, so I wouldn't say that all along the way,
Mhm.
there's been constant recognition. There's obviously always recognition along the way because I've always had strong supporters. But then along the way, there's always been like uh, strong. They're not detractors. Are they detractors? They're just people who feel the need to destroy me. And so
Haters.
yeah, and I don't know what they are. They're not my enemies. They mean nothing to me. But then I applied for senior counsel 4 times. And once again, maybe the first year was just put a toe in. But the next 3 years I had strong support from, the president of the Court of Appeal, etc. I had some really strong
Mhm.
support. And then I didn't have enemies. I didn't have people trying to crush me, but there were people who just said, "Oh, not yet, not yet, not yet." Not never, because if you get a never, you can forget about it. But so it was like a not yet. And then after the fourth time of applying, the Silk Selection Committee, or the then president of the Bar Association, said, "Oh, you should just take 1 year off. You should just take 1 year off and then apply again next year. Because, we're not saying that you won't get it, but just take a year off and then that's what we really want you to do." Because right from the beginning, they kept saying, "Take a year off, take a year off." Anyway, so take a year off and then apply again next year. There's no question that you really know your law because, you can't dispute the incredibly long list of publications that I have and all the research work that I've done, etc. And, there's no question that you contribute to the law, that you really understand, research the law, how the law works, etc. And yes, you have some very strong support, but you have some not yet. And we have to make it all unanimous, right? So that you have strong support, whatever. It's a political game. So
Mhm.
I thought, okay, fine. I will take a year off. It's fine. I will do that. And then it was 3 months. So in October, you find out that you didn't take silk, which is not surprising anyway, not really
Mhm.
surprising. And then on December 31, so I think we find out mid-October. So 10 weeks later, I came up with the idea for my AI law. And then the idea wasn't initially as sophisticated as it is now. It was just a much simpler idea to just tap into my own IP, all the documents, etc., all the work that I've done that's stored in a digital database to be able to just search that and retrieve it. That was it. It was a very simple idea. And
Mhm.
then which is what all the big firms I think are trying to do. But it's not enough, right? Because you're only historically searching what you have done in the past. And then fast, so we parked that idea because I'm sure I've told you before, my children just thought that was just ridiculous. So, they misunderstood what I wanted to do. They thought I wanted to train my own language model. And they today still insist that that was what I
Mhm.
wanted to. I never wanted to train my own language model. That's ridiculous. That costs billions of dollars. And there's no reason why I would want to train my own language model. I just wanted to use a publicly available language model to search my own data. Anyway, because they were so negative about it and wouldn't even listen to what it was I really wanted to do, we parked the idea. But then, as I've said before, in the meantime, I tried other, what was available on the market. And then 5 months later, we had come up with this legal AI research.
Yeah.
But it's only then in the next, I'm giving you a chronology, but then from then, May until now,
Hmm.
the whole time that for the idea to develop, idea, and for me to learn all about AI so that I could write the prompts and design the whole legal architecture, we
Hmm.
had all these people who just didn't believe that what I could do could possibly be any different or could possibly be anything better than LexisNexis, Thomson Reuters, Harvey, etc. They just couldn't imagine how I could do anything any different, any better. And last week, I was at the LegalTech Summit at the Gold Coast, where all the chief information officers and people ahead of products from the various law firms and institutions were there. I was telling some of them what I had done, and one of them said to me, "Look, I cannot imagine that my AI can do all the things that you say it can do." And he said, "Not that I'm suggesting that you're lying, but just knowing what LLMs can do, I just do not understand how you've been able to do this." Well, first, because we're not just a wraparound OpenAI. That's why we've built a whole complex model that has to go through a whole series of steps, etc., before you get to the answer. But uh, now, it's
Hmm.
only now that in the last few days where all the I'm just going to put this on Do Not Disturb when it's all the testimonials and everything coming in
Yeah.
that you could say that I'm getting recognition now from the legal profession. But internationally, I have been getting recognition, but not in Australia. So as you say, I have been getting recognized as the most influential CEO in legal tech by
Yeah.
CEO Monthly. The History of Parliament Trust in England, that's funded by the House of Commons and the House of Lords, has commissioned a documentary and a book to commemorate 100 years of democracy. And I've been chosen to represent the whole of the legal profession of Australia in democracy and innovation. They say because of the work I've done in ethical AI and the fact
Hmm.
that the reporter who interviewed me a couple of weeks ago said, you're not just cutting edge, you're way out in front, you're leading the edge. And we've been recognized. But overseas, though, it's always the way with Australians. Overseas, there's the Legal Tech Fund, a fund based in Miami, where they invest in legal tech, and they named us as the top 150 startups in litigation tech in July, I think, June or July. And
Hmm.
now they've invited us to their invite-only summit in Austin. So the recognition has come from maybe business circles, but it has not come from Australia until now.
Yeah.
And the first recognition came in August when I showed my old boss, the Honorable Michael Kirby, was probably the most famous judge in Australia. He's a former High Court judge. I worked for him in the Court of Appeal when he, looked at the outputs from my AI and he said, he was just so stunned and shocked and so proud of me, etc. Right? And he recognized it because he said, "Did I tell you told you this story?" I was having a cup of tea with him. And then I was showing him the outputs and he was just shocked. And obviously, you always check by looking through the judgments that he has written. And
Hmm.
we had summarized that accurately and extracted key information. He just couldn't believe it, and he was saying to his secretary, "You've got to come and take a photograph. You've got to come and take a photograph because we have to commemorate this moment because this is just like when Madame Curie discovered radioactivity." And then we had photos taken, etc. And then subsequently, I had given him more outputs, my research reports and everything, and then that's led to the endorsement that he's given us on our website. So that was the first one, was someone who was willing to go into print because, he said it's so amazing. As he says, I'm so proud of you that you're an Australian is leading the charge, you're the first person in the world really to have done this.
Yeah.
And so, but he was the first one, and it only came, and I think, it's all very well for business people and funders, etc., to recognize it, but I don't think it's as meaningful to me as when the
Oh.
legal profession recognizes me, because the legal recognition is from people who really understand why the product is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yes. Because for me
listen.
it's not just recognition for recognition's sake, because it's just like, I mean, they say that and I go, but do you really understand what I've done? Do you understand, what I have really done? And
Mm-hmm.
the Allen and Overy Fuse program, which is Allen and Overy is a magic circle firm in London. They have a legal incubator program, and where they have since, I think, 2017, they incubate and promote legal tech.
Okay.
And yeah, and so I met with them in June and they recognized. So, yes, maybe that's the first real recognition for me. They
Okay.
recognized what we were doing and they gave us an early invitation to apply for their Fuse program next May. And that's really significant because it means that they will give us office space for 7 months in London and San Francisco and give
Mm-hmm.
us access to all of their lawyers and all of their clients to help us further develop our product, because we have a product.
Yeah.
So I think, Miles,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, yes, all those things together that have been happening since June, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, it's exciting. It's exciting and it is validation, but I wasn't getting it from Australia. So I wasn't getting it from Australia until now. Obviously, it's not
Interesting
very
point.
long to wait. It's not very long
Yeah.
to wait from June till
Well, that's
September.
within a short period of time still, Lena. You're
Yeah,
being
it is still
selfish,
within a
I
short period of time. But
guess.
now it's pouring in, right? I mean, now you can see from the
Mm-hmm.
website, the endorsements that we've gotten. I mean, there are others as well that haven't gone up yet, where retired senior counsel have described the platform
Uh-huh.
as sublime, and and then the other uh, feedback is consistent along the lines of what you have already seen on the website, more
Yeah.
people saying the same thing. But yes, it's very exciting, and it's very it's very yes, it warms the cockles of
Overwhelming?
no, it warms the cockles of my heart because for so long I have been doing this, and for so long not getting the recognition, really, not getting
Yeah.
the recognition of my true ability, and being female and Asian at the bar hasn't helped, because being
Mhm.
female is bad enough. If you go
Unfortunately.
along to Friday, the court list, in the construction list and the commercial list, which are the divisions that I practice in, then you might be lucky to see two women in a whole room full of 50 men. It's just a completely male dominated
Yeah.
area. So they don't want to brief women anyway. And yes, they do brief the two other. Okay, I'll just say it. The president said to me, "You're the
Well,
next frontier." The president said to me, "You're the next frontier." Okay, first of all, it was to break the white woman in. Okay, and
uh-huh.
now the white woman, there's recognition, she's elevating, etc. But she said to me, and President Kirby said to me, actually, one the existing president, and Michael Kirby was the former president who I worked for, said, you are the next frontier. If the white women are in now, it's now time to recognize the Asian woman at the bar, right? Anyway, so it's just very exciting to get the recognition. I'd always had the recognition from the two of them. Isn't that great? I mean, they've always been huge supporters. I mean, and President Ward went into bat for me for the senior council recognition, etc. And I really appreciate it. And last year, I remember this year, I had to go to her and I said to her, "Look, I know you really, really support me, but I'm doing my AI law now, and that's what makes me really happy. And getting senior council recognition is no longer important to me, because what we're doing now is just so exciting, right? It's like groundbreaking."
Yeah. You're just proof that innovation and recognition, they don't have race or gender. right?
Oh,
And
good. I said to my husband, I said to my husband this morning, I'm the Hedy Lamarr. You know Hedy Lamarr, the mover, the female movie star who
uh
invented the internet.
yeah,
So I'm
he
Hedy
said
Lamarr.
that, or
Yeah,
you
she
said
did.
that.
I said, yes, I'm Hedy Lamarr because nobody would have expected Hedy Lamarr to invent the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it while she was a movie star, right?
Yeah.
Totally under, like you would just never expect it. Yes, so the point was exactly. So even now after I've done it, even now after I've done it, obviously the people who haven't tried the product are
Uh-huh.
in disbelief, but the ones who have tried it are in love. And there's no like mediocre response from them.
And
It's all like
yeah, what I love
love.
about the feedback that you've been getting, they're all organic. I
Yes,
mean,
yes, because
they're
we
all
want
real
product-led growth.
people and real
Yes.
professional who are really gonna use or using your my AI law. This is really huge, and I really appreciate you, Lena, for sharing your personal journey. If I'm being honest, I never thought you would. I mean, your struggles, your setbacks, and I thought I would just, get to read it and think about it over our text conversations. But I really appreciate that you even shared even the bullying. They're all raw, they're real, and I'm sure they will resonate with a lot of people, Lena. And, I'll just share, as they would say, when you're successful, when you're influencing people, when you're innovating and have been doing change, you have followers, of course, but it also means you have those people, as you've said, who try to pull you down. And I
Crash.
think, or crush you. But
Yeah.
you know what? I see it as a compliment because,
Well, yes, yes, of
right?
course. Of
Uh-huh.
course, it is because they've obviously seen something in me that they feel threatened by. And that's what happens in
Exactly.
court as well. If you show up to court and you have a good case and the other side has nothing but they don't have really good legal points about you to
Mm-hmm.
run against you, then they'll start playing the man rather than the ball. And
Right.
I've noticed that right from the beginning. I learned that from the very first huge case I was in when I was only 14 months at the bar and I ran this 9-week case on lead because Adrian, who was my old boss from Interallison, sent me down to Melbourne to run this 9-week case, right, unled. But of
Yeah.
course, by the time he'd made the company an ACN number, so so I guess it didn't really matter. I don't know, maybe it didn't really
Yeah.
matter
And
the
this
outcome
is,
was, but they still wanted to defend it, and so we. Yeah, I mean, from there, I saw all the senior counsel and all the people who were threatened by my client my
mhm.
client's case as to what it could happen to them, try to play me rather than the ball. And
Yeah.
then when I learned, I'll always take it as a compliment if they start trying to unsettle you. And of course, now,
Yeah.
now they're all my good friends. But
That's
it took the
wonderful.
first it took the first couple of weeks to get them to accept me. And then of course we were together for 9 weeks. And a few of them are judges now. I mean, I wouldn't say the judges are my good friends, but we were friends before, right?
Yeah.
Back then, but you don't get to see them that much anymore.
Uh-huh. And this is something that you don't really give your precious attention to because you're focused on what you'd like to attain, your goals, which is now for you is democratizing the legal research. And the fact that you built this, something that even you said earlier, CIOs couldn't imagine. They call you crazy. They call you delusional. But for me, it
Oh no,
sounds more like,
that's my own that's my own technical advisor. That's
yeah,
Arjun. Because he said to me, I said, I can't believe we've done this. I said, now that we've done
yeah.
it, and now I get all the reactions from everyone else who can't believe that I've done it. I have like PTSD because I didn't realize that what we were doing was not, well, of course it was
Uh-huh.
possible because we've done it. And I have the law degree and I have the maths degree and I have the minor in computer science. So, for me, I was like, why can't we do it? Of course we can do this, right? Now, of course I was right. But
Mhm.
other people, you know, don't can't even imagine it. And so Arjun said, in order to have built this, you needed to be delusional and obsessive. And a friend last night added determined. And you have all those qualities. So that is why we've managed to do this, because you just didn't even imagine that it couldn't be possible. And that's like, someone breaking the 4-minute mile, right? They thought it was
Uh-huh.
possible. They broke the 4-minute mile. And then other people
Mhm.
started doing that. It's like when you show what is possible, then other people will start to copy you. So hey, that's why we've
Yeah.
launched a provisional patent application
Mhm.
because we
Well,
know. that people are going to try and copy us or reverse
Hmm.
engineer us or do something. Yeah.
Well, for me, it's more like I think I've told you earlier. It's more like visionary, and you're unstoppable, Lena. Tell me about it. I mean, you're now getting such a strong beta response. It's just
Yes.
extraordinary. It seems, and also you seem like you view recognition, which I love, less as finish lines and more like as checkpoints along the road.
Yes.
I
That's
mean,
right.
it's
Checkpoint.
nice. It's really nice and really
It's just to ensure
flattering.
product market fit. That's all. The
Mhm.
recognition is just to ensure that you have achieved product market fit. And then all along the way, I accept the feedback from getting from the users. And as a result, in the last 10 days, I've developed three new features
Mhm. Yeah, and
because
it's
I get
actually
feed.
yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, because I get feedback from them as to say, oh, what else they would like or what
Okay.
their concerns are. One person's concerns was that, oh, if everyone uses this, then it'll be very hard for him to push his point of view across because, his point of view is not really what is fair. And so I then developed a new feature called Negotiation Pack, where we will review the contract as we review all the contracts. And then for every problematic clause, the clause that we flag, we actually provide three alternative versions of the clause we draft it out for you, three alternative versions,
Okay.
giving you the most protection, medium protection, the least protection, and we give you talking points for each of them. And then at the end of it, that we summarize it, I'll give you a negotiation pack. So whoever going in for negotiation will have that pack with them. And then they will be able to, use their lawyering and work out how to negotiate their way into getting the clause that they say
Yeah.
uh, best suits the interests of both parties. But
Mm.
but it's true, we are democratizing the law, not just legal research. We're democratizing the law. So the big firm, with all the clever, smart lawyers can't come in and bully the small firm and hope to get one past them. Because if the small firm is using this feature, they will also have all these flags highlighted for them. And the small firms and the medium firms, there are firms lined up to test us, this in-house counsel lined up to test us. The big firms are the ones who are hesitant. The big firms are the ones who are saying, oh, it'll take 1 year to get into us because you need to get all these certifications. But that's okay because we already built it according to the standards of all those certifications, and it's just a process of getting the certifications formalized. But all those check, what do you call them? Check rails, checks and
Hmm.
balances,
Check and back.
and to make sure that everyone's data is protected, etc. They were already in my product requirement document when
Mm.
I sent this out to fast code to be built.
Yeah. Well, every week you have
But
something new.
well, in the meantime, while the big firms are happy with their use of Harvey AI and Nexus, the smaller firms, the in-house counsel, they want to use our products. Tomorrow is the start of our 3-month association with the Association of Corporate Counsel, where we will be the featured legal tech mate for the rest of the year. And
Wow.
and so everyone else will use it, and
Hmm.
the big firms, well, they'll be left behind. There's just no two ways about it because what MiAI Law can do is beyond what a human can do. Even if you have a massive, massive, massive team, I mean, of course, if you have a massive, massive, massive team and unlimited amount of time and resources, then maybe you could do it. But everything we do always has time pressures.
Yeah, right. Well, bottom line, recognition is really nice. It's really great, but it's actually the momentum, like what you have right now. It gives you that it gives you what really counts. And Lena, when big institutions like Legal Tech Sydney or global firms reach out to you, both local and
Legal
international.
Tech, you mean Legal Tech Miami?
Yeah.
The Legal Tech Fund Miami. Yep.
Uh-huh.
It's
What do you
Miami.
think they're
I used to
most curious about when they reach out to you?
Well, I think they want to. Well, one of them said, could I consider taking a little bit of money from them? And then I said to them, why? What will you bring to me? And they said, oh, obviously, with the huge legal network, they can help us go to market. Well, they want to invest in us because they see
You see
now
the
that,
potential.
yeah, we're going to make them heaps of money.
Mhm.
Yep. And then, well, obviously, why else would a venture capital fund reach out to you? They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then what I was saying is, you get a lot of people reaching out, magazines, etc., offering to feature you for a huge amount of money in their magazines. I just ignore those because
Mhm.
they just want money out of you. But the only reason why I accepted the CEO monthly recognition was because you didn't require any money. You didn't need to pay them any money to accept it.
And that's real
Otherwise,
recognition.
I just treat all the other recognitions cynically
Mhm.
and ignore them because they just want money out of you. That's what they really want out of you.
Right.
Okay, because well, obviously, yes,
Mhm.
a lot of the
And
recognition.
the ones that don't ask for money, of course, that those are real recognitions, I would say. And it's very interesting. It's almost like they're not just curious about the product itself or my AI law, but they're also curious about the thinking behind it, I suppose, the philosophy of how law and AI can actually work together. It's a great
Yes, but
reminder.
then we have people who have been very, very negative and very negative along the way who now obviously think it's amazing. And
Yeah.
then they say to me, well, we don't understand how you've done it. Tell me how you've done it. And I'm not going to tell you because it's our trade secret. Why would I,
Yeah.
why would why would I tell you? Why would I tell anybody? It's just
Mhm.
crazy because we know, people now that we've shown it's possible, other people are going to try and copy it, right?
Uh-huh, right. And what you're doing is a reminder that innovation is as much about trust as it is about tech. So, having said that, Lena, how does your personal recognition shape the way you lead my AI law, especially in making sure the company stays practical and focused on solving real problems for lawyers?
Well, I just keep developing the features. I mean,
Mm-hmm. You improve.
when I just get feedback as to what other features they want or what they think might be helpful, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep developing new features. I feel I can't stop the features from coming out of me. They're like one of them has been delivered by my developers, the negotiation pack. But another one, the law check one, he can't get to it until next week because they're busy building up the rest of our databases. And so that takes time, and they are hoping to deliver all of that by Friday because that's the deadline I've given them because we're releasing to the public on Monday.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he's busy. So you should see my PRD. And then another lawyer last night, he gave it to me last night, but I only got to read it. So he gave me another idea of he wanted to be able to automate for massive companies like BHP, Amazon, I guess even OpenAI. They have to automate all the contract reviews. So not just to do it one by one, so that we can get samples of their contracts and then run it through my AI to check where all the issues are with their contracts. But there's a lot of them, right? There's thousands of them. So you would want to automate that process. And we can do that. But, my developers will have to write an agent for me so that, BHP, whoever it is, can put the sample contracts that they want in a particular folder, and then we can just automate it and run it automatically for them. So that's a new feature I got overnight. So that's what I do with the recognition and feedback.
Yeah.
I just use it as an opportunity to tweak the existing model. Like for example, oh my God, we've only been beta testing for what, 12 days, but in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning we were getting a lot of difficulty with people signing in. And so we used the feedback and we simplified the process. We collapsed things. I mean, really simple things. People didn't know how to enter their phone numbers. And
Mm-hmm.
so now we've made it so that the moment you say you're in Australia, we automatically pre-select the Australian phone number for you, and then you can just enter your last 8 digits or 9 digits or whatever it is. But people were really having, and then there were other things like that people were having real problems with, and we just used it and we automated things. So, for example, summarizing a case before used to take 4 steps, it's now 2 steps. And then so that the moment you upload the case is pre-selected and then you can just click the button to generate summary. And then same with contract reviews, everything is automated. So that's what we do with feedback.
Yeah.
I
Like,
don't think recognition for recognition's sake is really that.
mm,
Maybe my husband says I'm very hard on myself. Some recognition doesn't really mean much to me, but it's the people that I respect. If
uh-huh.
I respect you, then your feedback is meaningful to me.
That's meaningful. And it's one of the things
Yeah.
that's actually pushing you forward, which makes you focus on what's really functional for those who really use MiAI Law and how this tool would make them more efficient. Being recognized or
It's not just
receiving.
more.
Mhm.
Yes. But
Yeah.
what I really loved was what Anderson said in his review, that not only is it making him more efficient, it's
Mhm.
making him more informed. And I love that because
Yeah.
that's the point, right? Because we do the contract reviews for you, we flag all the issues, we tell you why it's an issue, we name the cases for you, we do the analysis for you, you read it, and
Mhm.
then you go, oh my God, I hadn't even thought of that. Or I didn't realize that there were cases on this point, you know? So
Yeah.
my point is, yes, I automate it for you, but I also teach you along the way and I increase the knowledge base of the lawyer and make you better.
Yeah. Well, being recognized, or as you've said, receiving feedback alone from the people that you trust personally puts you in a position where the pressure is on to deliver, but it also keeps you grounded, I guess, because at the end of the day, a shiny award, or publication or any recognition won't draft a brief or review a contract, but my AI law can. And do you feel a sense of responsibility that comes with all these recognitions, Lena? I mean, not just for yourself, but also for being a voice in the broader conversation about legal AI?
Yeah, I guess I do because I was at a conference last week and one
Mhm.
of the speakers was completely misguided as to how AI models work, not just the language model, but the AI models work.
Mhm.
And this person said that the models, when delivered, are constantly learning and self-improving, and that's just wrong. They don't do that. When you deliver a model, it is frozen in time, and it will only improve if you adjust the algorithms or you feed it more data. You have to do something. You have to retrain the model. You have to retrain the model. If you're doing a fine-tuned language model, you have to retrain it with additional data if the model is not giving out outputs that you're happy with, or you have to tweak the algorithms.
Mhm.
So this person said he thought that super intelligence was already here. And that, everyone can be so terrified because the moment you ask the model something, it's going to use your questions to improve itself. Well, it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that at all. And
Okay.
I felt the need to correct him. And then afterwards, heaps of people came up to me and said, "Oh, we're so glad you said something because it was driving them nuts that the speaker was just, I mean, the speaker was there on stage to talk about human resources, but then thought that he would venture into an area that he's just not qualified to comment on. And you
Mhm.
shouldn't do that. You should stay within your area of expertise.
I
So yes,
agree.
I do feel that I need to correct and improve the education of people about what AI really can do or can't do. And in fact, later in this week, I'm speaking at the Double Regional Women Lawyers Conference, and my topic is what AI can do and what AI cannot.
They have to refer to our episode. Previous
Yeah,
episode. Yeah. Well, that's great, Lena. It's about carrying responsibility to lead the conversation in a way that's ethical, transparent, and very inclusive. And if you could use your growing
thank you.
platform to change one perception, Lena, about AI in law, what would you want people, say lawyers and clients alike, to understand differently?
I think that properly used, my AI will make you a better lawyer. And that most importantly, our mission right from the beginning has been to democratize law. And
Mhm.
I think we're achieving that. And I think the signal that we're achieving that is from Anderson's review, where he said that it was making him a better lawyer and to better serve his clients. He's not saying that I am losing work or losing, I'm no longer relevant as a lawyer. He's not saying that. He's saying I have to review multiple contracts every day The process is much faster, more efficient. I can better advise my clients, and I'm also improving my knowledge and becoming a better lawyer every day. And that was my mission right from the beginning, to
Mhm.
democratize the law, to make sure that it wasn't just the large law firms that had those capabilities, but I wanted everybody else to also be able to come up against the large law firms and
Yeah.
the people who have deep pockets and are able to afford the best lawyers or the most number of lawyers.
Mhm. Well, I love that.
So,
It.
so yeah, so I mean, so that was always our number one mission. And I was speaking to one of my advisors, and he said to me on Saturday or Friday, he said, "Well,
Mhm.
that was always your mission, wasn't it? Your mission right from the beginning. And if you go back to our investor packs, has always investor deck has always been to democratize law."
Law and legal research.
Yes, but also, if you don't study hard at university now, then your chances of getting a job are really even more reduced. Because if if what you're bringing to the table is less than what my AI can bring to the table, then you really have to think about whether
Mhm.
your employability down the track.
Yeah. It's about reframing AI from being this scary robot that replaces people into a trusted partner that expands what humans can do. As you said, not
Yes.
just being efficient, but making them a better version of themselves.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
you
And
really have to learn critical thinking, because if you think that AI can replace you and you can just put your questions into my AI or come out and you'll just use it without thought and then without thinking about how you can use it to craft your legal strategy,
uh-huh.
then basically you're proving that you're replaceable by AI. But I just think that being a lawyer is so much more than knowing the answer to the question.
Hmm. Right. And I suppose that's a shift every industry needs, not just law in general, even students. As we've discussed with team previously in our previous episodes, I remember critical thinking is really essential in general. So we
Mhm.
cannot just let the robots think and decide for us, right? So this tech that you're
But robots
building,
don't think. Okay.
yeah.
Robots generally don't think. Generally, they won't think in your domain area of domain expertise. They don't. Even OpenAI, if you use it for coding, it's only doing what you tell it to do. It doesn't think at
Yeah.
all. So, people keep saying, oh, the coding is so great, the coding is so great. But it really depends on your prompts, and you really have to check it, and then you really have to adjust it. You have to constantly give it instructions and strong editorial control for it to even do what it is you want it to do. And that's the same with everything. Well, with my AI law, it's a little bit different because I have embedded the thinking into it. But if people are just wanting to rely upon Gemini or OpenAI, then you have to really exercise very strong editorial control. And that is why people are saying, oh, it's all in the prompts. It's all in the prompts, the user prompts, right? Because the user prompts are how you are guiding the language model to do what you want it to do. Whereas with my AI law, our prompts are not so important because we have the embedded legal reasoning behind the scenes. I
Hmm.
mean, there's still a little bit of an art to uh, how you draft your prompt for my AI, but we're not a four-step process. You just have to tell us the facts and then the legal issue you want, the legal problem that you want solved, and we will do the research for you. We're not
Hmm.
forcing people, or we don't want people to give us huge context, or
Hmm.
huge rambling conversations or instructions to us, because we don't need that. We don't really need to know what you think the answer may be, but we just want to know what the factual scenario is, what the problem is, and then our own reasoning model will take over and work it out.
Yeah. And that's what I love about all of this, Lena. You're here. I mean, you're not just building tech, you're here building a story of resilience and leadership that people will connect with deeply. All right, folks, I hope this chat made you think deeper and most importantly, got inspired by Lena from hearing how recognition isn't just a personal milestone, but more of a responsibility to how my AI law is shaping trust in legal AI. It's just clear that leadership is as much about perspective as it is about innovation. So thank you, Lena, for sharing your time, your thoughts with us today. It's always a pleasure. And I can't wait for the next one.
Thank you. Thanks, Miles.
Thank you. So, guys, head over to myai.law and better check out our previous episodes featuring Laina to learn more about how they're revolutionizing legal research. And that's a wrap. This has been your host, Miles. Stay focused and inspired with XRaised.